for a second. There we go. Well, thank you for inviting me out here. You know, your parents and family members, players. I want to thank Quince for calling me. I was kind of stunned, taken back by it when he did give me a call. You know, it's an honor to be here tonight, and I was kind of like thinking about, you know, what could I really talk about coming here that would catch your attention. You know, nowadays with the attention span and what it is, you know, I'm not sure. Even Tyler Dorsey doesn't really ring a bell, but so I really kind of thought about maybe the journey, talk about the journey. So I thought that was a big step about bringing that to your attention. But I wanted to just clarify a couple of things about myself, because I'm sure you have no clue of who I am. So just to give you a little background, and I think that's pretty essential. You know, I've been coaching for over 27 years. I've been a head coach at Salesian Bosco Tech High School. I've been at Cantwell and St. John Bosco as assistants, all in that Catholic circle, so I kind of know how that works. I've won league championships, CIF, and state championships now. Those are nice rings, by the way, they're pretty nice. I never wear them, so, but it was just nice to get them, I'll tell you that. I've been working hard just to go in that route. So I thought about it and I said, well, why are we actually here tonight? You know, and I wanted to bring that to your attention because I think it's really essential. We're celebrating the players, their commitment and their consistency and the process to their journey that's just begun. My journey began almost 39 years ago. I thought about it, I didn't really calculate that one. 39 years ago when I was sitting, probably not in those chairs, we didn't do banquets. It's a great job that your head coaches have done, but we didn't have that back then. But 39 years ago, I was a travel ball player. And that was the biggest thing, being committed and consistent. It's been said, without commitment, you never start. And without consistency, you never finish. And I'll say that again, I think it's real important that sink in. Without commitment, you'll never start. Without consistency, you'll never finish. The journey I took is full of risk-taking and adventure. You know, these are common things. If you really think about it, these kids, you think about these little adventures they've been on, these trips they go on, those are adventures for them, you know. But with risk-taking comes failure. And that's a big problem these days. I hope that's not too loud for you. You know, Michael Jordan was cut from his basketball team in high school. I don't know if you're aware of that. Some of you might be. What I didn't know was Carmelo Anthony was also cut from his basketball team. That's something that nobody ever talks about. They talk about all the accolades, but both of those guys took their teams to NCAA championships, both of them. They didn't stop. That's the point. They didn't stop. And that's kind of what I'm going to touch bases on, that risk-taking and adventure and failure. You know, from a coach perspective, and every one of you that are dealing with your coaches fall into this category. When you look at your coach and you get them on the court, you'll know that every one of them have experienced losing, rejection at some point in their career. The embarrassment and rejection is inevitable. You will, as a player, experience that. And you have to accept it. You have to learn to deal with it. A lot of players today are having a troubled time accepting that. But that's where it comes in, where coaching is almost like counseling. We try to coach you through that. For me, myself, you know, I've been fired. I've been said no to. I've been ignored. I've been lied to. I've been rejected, but there's one thing, I didn't stop. That's the thing. When doors were shut in my face, I kept going on. I started getting ready for my next challenges. And my adventures as a coach started with collegiate level practices. That was my goal. I wanted to go and get that knowledge. I wanted to infiltrate their practice, which if you go to any college, they're closed doors. But I wanted in. I wanted to see what it was all about. So, I kept going. I failed and failed again. I called endless times to different types of colleges trying to get in, and another door would shut, and I would be rejected, and I would fail. So I started praying to God a little bit, talking with God and saying, hey, you know what? I need a break. Give me a break. And then I caught a break. And it kicked off my first adventure. And in 2000, I had to look this up, it's been that far, but in 2005, my first two-a-day practice that I attended was at Michigan State. My mentor at the time was Tom Easy. Saying these names probably mean nothing, but back in coaching, you talk to these coaches, it means a lot. I was able to go and infiltrate Michigan State. I pushed through, went on to Arizona, Gonzaga, USC, all these practices, trying to grab that knowledge, bring it back. I didn't want a job. I just wanted the knowledge to bring back to the youth, to sit here and practice. So when Quince talks about pushing through or getting these guys to play hard, this is exactly the foundation I was looking for. And I found it in the kids. That's why I never transferred into a college basketball program. It's just because I like what I do. I love what I do. I love that adrenaline rush that I got watching that practice and bringing it back and seeing these kids get blown away with terminology and spacing and stuff that they probably never knew existed. So it was kind of my, test to see if I could get them to play that hard. I didn't stop there again. So I figured if I could punch through the college door, on deck was the NBA. And again, I knew with new adventures brought more rejection, more failure. So by then I had toughened up. I was okay. I could get through that. So I, started again networking, looking for those side doors and all these names that could get me into an NBA assistant. And by then it didn't really matter. I was rejected over and over until again I caught a break. And again, I was able to go to NBA training camps, and I attended the Utah Jazz, Minnesota, Oklahoma City, Toronto, and just recently the LA Clippers. These NBA guys introduced me to his skill sets. I don't advise you looking this up, but I was, accidentally filmed on the Kevin Durant off-season documentary. I'm the old guy passing it and rebounding it as a rebounder. So, I did pick the minds of some good NBA coaches, and Scott Brooks, Rick Kalamian from LA Clippers. They allowed me to bring this knowledge again back to the youth. But it wasn't going to just stop there. I had to push through. There was not an option. So the point is, you've just begun your journey, every one of you. There's another journey, there's another level to what you do, and that is high school as well, which is probably your next step, or going from 7th to 8th grade, that's another journey. You should be blessed to have some type of talent, speed, length, height, agility. But the big question is, can you handle failure? Can you handle adversity? It's one of the biggest things that you have to do. My wife told me one day that when you fail, one door will close and the other will open. The question is, can you step through it? And that's what I've been doing ever since. Through rejection, through failure, I continue to step through it. And I just can't stop. I have that adrenaline going. I don't think there's any other level I can look for, unless there's got basketball in space. You know, that's where I would go. But for right now, this is what I've learned about this journey. You know, I got a little bit of recommendations for you younger guys that are just out there. And I think, I don't know if this is going to be you, but this was me back then. I surrounded myself with players and coaches who pushed me. I listen to, and I suggest you do the same, listen to speakers, motivational speakers, Les Brown, Inky Johnson, Admiral McGraven, all those who push hard work. And by the way, hard work works. Good character matters. You'll be challenged by teammates, coaches, family, and the special players. They'll know how to learn. They learn how to go through failure. They'll make the mistake, endure it, and move on. It's your job now to prepare for that. Are you willing to be cut and move forward? Because that's what happened to Michael Jordan. That's what I said when they first got cut, but that didn't stop them. And they, down the road, got an NCAA championship. Shouldn't stop you. Remember, the greatest threat to your journey is going to be paralyzing self-doubt and fear. And any one of those can cripple you. I think the most important part is that the chances you take, the people you meet, the people you love, the faith you have, is what will define your character. I think you're old enough to know what character is. Finally, I would say thank you to all those coaches and parents that push you, that allow you to continue to be here tonight. Without that, you wouldn't be much. You really wouldn't, because all the stuff that you put, the hard work, all that falls back on them. All that money, all that time, all that love and care for that they do for you, all they're asking for is a simple thank you. So I think in the end, I think you can do that. The last part is, don't give in. It's going to be tough, but it's going to be well worth it. Stay the course, stay on that journey, and thank you all for having me here tonight. Appreciate it.